into a residential building and then further out that way. And it has made Chongqing a bit of a hotspot and a bit of a tourist attraction as well.
Imagine walking down an ordinary city street when a deep, metallic rumble suddenly echoes above you. You look up, expecting to see a train passing over a bridge, only to watch it vanish straight into the middle of a residential building. Not beside it, not underneath it, directly through it. That moment alone is enough to make you question whether what you're seeing is real. But in this city, it's just another normal day. Now, expand that image. Picture highways stacked 8 levels high, bridges stretching between mountain peaks hundreds of meters above the ground, roads spiraling like roller coasters, and subway stations perched on what feels like the 50th floor of skyscrapers. It sounds like a setting pulled straight from a futuristic movie or a cyberpunk video game. Yet this place exists right now, in the present day, and millions of people call it home. Welcome to Chongqing, a city that makes much of the modern world feel as if it's still stuck in the past. Chongqing doesn't just feel futuristic. It feels as though it operates in an entirely different dimension. While many cities struggle to solve basic traffic congestion or urban sprawl, Chongqing responded by building upward, downward, and sideways all at once. Skyscrapers rise so high they disappear into clouds. Transportation systems bend conventional logic. Infrastructure reaches such an extreme level of complexity that engineers from around the world visit simply to understand how it all works. Standing in one of the city's main squares, you might suddenly realize you're not on ground level at all, but actually standing on the equivalent of the 22nd floor of a building. The ground beneath your feet is someone else's rooftop.
I didn't even realize that we were this high. I've been to almost every big city in Asia, but I've never felt something like this, where you're just standing in a main square and you realize that you're on the 22nd floor of a building. It's totally mind-blowing. Like, I don't understand how the architects were able to build a city like this.
One of the most famous and mind-bending examples of Chongqing's engineering philosophy is the light rail line that passes directly through a residential building. At Liziba Station, the monorail slices through the 6th, 7th, and 8th floors of an apartment complex. People live above the tracks. People live below them. And every few minutes, a train glides through the middle as casually as if this were the most ordinary thing in the world. When planners realized the rail line would intersect an existing building, they didn't demolish it or reroute the project. Instead, they fused the station and the building into a single integrated structure. The engineering behind this decision is just as impressive as the visual spectacle. Specialized soundproofing reduces the noise of passing trains to roughly the level of a household dishwasher. Shock absorption systems prevent vibrations from traveling through the building's structure. Residents often say they barely notice the trains at all. What began as a radical solution to a logistical problem has since become a selling point, with real estate listings proudly advertising apartments located in the train building. What might seem absurd elsewhere is simply practical innovation in Chongqing. This philosophy extends far beyond a single building. Chongqing is a city defined by its geography. Built among steep mountains and carved by powerful rivers, it offers very little flat land. Instead of reshaping nature to fit traditional urban planning models, the city adapted itself to the terrain. The result is an astonishing network of more than 15,000 bridges, a number so high that many entire countries don't come close to matching it. Bridges here don't just cross rivers, they leap across valleys, connect mountaintops, and stack atop one another in layers of concrete and steel. Some bridges are monumental feats of architecture. The Kaotianmen Bridge, stretching approximately 932 meters, ranks among the longest arch bridges in the world. It carries both vehicles and pedestrians, linking major districts across the Yangtze River. The Kaiyuanba Bridge soars roughly 150 meters above the river, with light rail trains running along its upper deck and cars flowing beneath. At night, these structures glow with programmable LED lights that ripple across their surfaces in synchronized patterns. What makes Chongqing's bridges truly unique, however, is how deeply they integrate with the city itself. Some connect directly into buildings dozens of floors above the ground. Others link roads that sit at completely different elevations, making the idea of ground level feel almost meaningless. Certain bridges even feature built-in viewing platforms where visitors can step out and gaze straight down at rivers far below, suspended in mid-air. This extreme verticality creates challenges that most cities never face. In Chongqing, even GPS systems struggle. Your phone might confidently announce that you've arrived at your destination while you're standing on the wrong level entirely. The restaurant you're looking for could be 6 floors above you, accessible only by a different street running at a higher elevation. Some buildings have entrances on multiple floors, each connecting to a different road. You might enter a building at street level, take an elevator down, and emerge on what feels like the 20th floor of a neighboring structure. Delivery drivers must undergo specialized training to navigate this three-dimensional maze. Food delivery apps have been redesigned to include altitude data and entrance-level instructions because traditional coordinates simply aren't enough. In Chongqing, saying, "I'm here," means very little unless you also specify which "here" you're talking about. The city's public transportation system embraces this complexity rather than fighting it. Subway stations are carved directly into mountains, with trains tunneling through solid rock. Some stations sit beside cliff-hugging buildings that appear to defy gravity. One of the most iconic locations is the Hongyedong Complex, a massive, multi-level structure clinging to a steep riverbank. Inspired by traditional stilted houses known as Diaojiaolo, the complex cascades down the cliff in layers of restaurants, tea houses, shops, and galleries. Entering Hongyedong from the top feels like stepping into an ordinary street. As you walk downward through winding staircases and wooden bridges, you pass through multiple levels before eventually emerging at the riverside. When you turn around, the building towers above you, its golden lights glowing against the night sky. The shift in perspective is disorienting, and that disorientation has become part of the attraction. Photos of Hongyedong reflecting off the river have made it one of the most photographed landmarks in China. If Hongyedong looks like something from a cyberpunk fantasy, the Raffles City complex takes that feeling even further. Composed of 8 towering skyscrapers, the development is crowned by a massive horizontal structure known as the Crystal. Stretching about 300 meters in length and sitting nearly 250 meters above the ground, it resembles a giant spaceship resting atop the towers. Inside are gardens, restaurants, observation decks, and even swimming pools suspended in the sky. The Crystal isn't merely a visual gimmick. It's a functional space supported by a complex network of steel structures designed to distribute its immense weight across the towers below. A transparent glass walkway allows visitors to look straight down at the city beneath their feet, while an infinity pool creates the surreal sensation of swimming among clouds. On clear days, the view extends for kilometers, making the city feel both vast and incredibly close at the same time. Traffic in Chongqing might seem chaotic at first glance, but it operates with an almost elegant logic. Massive spiral interchanges twist around themselves like concrete springs. The Huangjuan flyover, often cited as one of the most complex intersections in the world, features 5 levels of roads and more than 20 connecting ramps. A single wrong turn can send you spiraling toward an entirely different part of the city, yet traffic continues to flow. These structures solve multiple challenges simultaneously. They manage traffic between highways and local roads, adapt to steep elevation changes, and connect neighborhoods that exist at vastly different heights. What looks like abstract sculpture from above functions as a highly efficient transportation system. During rush hour, tens of thousands of vehicles pass through these interchanges with surprisingly few delays, a testament to meticulous planning and constant optimization. Vertical movement isn't limited to vehicles. Chongqing is also home to some of the world's longest and most extensive escalator systems. The Chongqing Crown Escalator, stretching over 100 meters, climbs straight up a mountainside. Instead of forcing pedestrians to tackle hundreds of stairs, the city installed enclosed, air-conditioned escalators that glide through tunnels carved into rock. Some routes combine multiple escalators, allowing people to travel from riverside districts all the way to hilltop neighborhoods, climbing more than 300 meters in elevation with minimal effort. For elderly residents and people with mobility challenges, these systems are transformative. What was once an exhausting daily climb becomes a comfortable ride. In Chongqing, public infrastructure isn't just about efficiency. It's about making extreme geography livable. When night falls, the city transforms yet again. Millions of LED lights illuminate buildings, bridges, and towers, turning the skyline into a glowing tapestry of color. The Yangtze River reflects these lights, creating the illusion that the city is floating in space. Skyscrapers become giant screens, displaying animations that ripple along the riverfront. Drone swarms rise into the sky, forming shapes, patterns, and messages in coordinated displays. These nightly light shows are carefully choreographed. Buildings synchronize their LED systems to create flowing visuals that move from one structure to the next. On some nights, the displays feature traditional Chinese art. On others, abstract designs or celebratory themes take over. During holidays, the spectacle grows even more elaborate, drawing thousands of spectators to the riverbanks. Adding to this surreal experience is the Yangtze River Cableway, which carries passengers across the river in cabins suspended high above the water. The journey lasts only a few minutes, but the view is unforgettable. Boats drift below as illuminated towers rise on either side. At night, riding the cableway feels like floating through a neon dream, with the entire city spread out beneath you. What truly sets Chongqing apart is its refusal to follow conventional rules. Where other cities spread outward across flat land, Chongqing embraced its mountains and rivers, turning obstacles into defining features. Limited space led to vertical expansion. Rugged terrain inspired innovative transportation solutions. Every challenge became an opportunity to push boundaries. The scale of the city amplifies this need for innovation. Chongqing is China's largest municipality by population, with over 30 million people in its administrative region and around 9 million in its urban core. Managing such a massive population across steep, uneven terrain demanded solutions that simply didn't exist elsewhere. In many ways, Chongqing had to invent its own urban logic. The result is a city that feels like a glimpse into the future of urban living. Commutes can be shorter because movement happens vertically as well as horizontally. Infrastructure is layered rather than spread out. The city functions not as a flat map, but as a complex three-dimensional system. Chongqing challenges deeply ingrained assumptions about how cities should look and operate. It suggests that the future of urban development doesn't have to be uniform grids and glass towers. Instead, it can be dynamic, layered, and deeply responsive to local geography. And perhaps the most astonishing part is that Chongqing isn't finished. Construction continues. New bridges rise. New layers are added. The city keeps evolving. If this is what's already possible today, it raises an unavoidable question. What's holding the rest of the world back? Is it a lack of resources, a lack of vision, or simply an attachment to familiar ways of building? Chongqing stands as living proof that when imagination, necessity, and engineering collide, cities don't just grow. They transform into something entirely new.